Before we start diving into the story, please take a second to like this video and subscribe. It only takes a second, but it will help the channel grow. Thank you for your interest in our channel. I woke to the familiar call of seagulls and the gentle rhythm of the tide outside my window, the salty sea breeze mingling with memories of long-ago days in our small New England town. Life here has always had a timeless quality, a mix of weathered docks, whispering winds, and a sense of history that clings to every brick. That morning, however, everything shifted when my phone buzzed with a message from Noah, my younger brother who had vanished without explanation years ago. His words were short and charged. "I'm coming. We need to talk." In that instant, the weight of our shared past crashed over me like a tidal wave. I remember the countless summer afternoons when Noah and I would race along the waterfront, daring each other to sneak into forgotten corners of the old harbor. Back then, the world was a playground of adventure, filled with secret hideouts beneath peeling paint and echoes of laughter that danced on the breeze. Now, each step along the creaking boardwalk stirred memories that were both sweet and bitter, reminders of a time when our dreams were as boundless as the ocean. Later that day, I made my way to the old post office, a relic of our town's history, where I found a battered envelope resting atop my scattered mail. Its edges were softened by time, and inside lay faded photographs capturing a world that seemed both distant and achingly real. Images of us splashing in tide pools, racing our shadows along sunlit piers, and sharing whispered secrets in the glow of a setting sun. No note accompanied the photos, only the silent echo of memories I thought I had long locked away. The mystery of the sender gnawed at me, as to the possibility that Noah had stumbled upon long-buried secrets about our family's past. Standing by the foggy window of my modest apartment, I watched as the first light of dawn painted the town in soft hues. Outside, the harbor slowly stirred to life, yet inside, I could feel the storm brewing, a mix of anticipation, dread, and unresolved questions. The message from Noah was a spark that had ignited buried emotions, compelling me to confront everything I'd tried to forget. With each glance at those photographs, I sensed that the calm of my coastal life was on the verge of shattering, and I braced myself for what lay ahead, a collision of old bonds and new truths that promised to change everything. I arrived at the vinyl vault with a mix of apprehension and curiosity still burning inside me. The store's facade, with its weathered brick and neon sign flickering like a relic from another time, promised a retreat into a world where music was more than sound. It was a lifeline to the past. Inside, the air was saturated with nostalgia, walls plastered with vintage posters of legendary rock bands, the soft hum of an old record player blending with the murmur of fellow music lovers. Every inch of the space felt deliberate, like a shrine to a bygone era of raw emotion and untamed expression. I hadn't been inside much since the early days of my youth, but now every step seemed charged with meaning. I found Noah in a secluded corner near an array of rare vinyl records. His transformation was unmistakable. Gone was the carefree boy who once chased me around the docks. In his place stood a man with a confident, almost enigmatic air. He scanned the collection with the intensity of someone deciphering a hidden code, as if each album held clues to an unsolved mystery from our past. Without waiting for me to approach, Noah pulled out a record from a dusty shelf and offered it with a subtle smile. "You remember this one?" he asked, his tone teasing yet layered with unspoken significance. I nodded slowly, recalling long nights spent sharing favorite songs and secrets when the world seemed to spin solely for the two of us. But tonight, the air between us was charged with something else, a sense that time had etched invisible scars into our souls. Our conversation flowed quickly, moving from the familiar to the extraordinary. Noah recounted tales of his recent travels, meeting eclectic characters, and rubbing shoulders with underground musicians whose lives were as enigmatic as his own. Every detail he shared felt like a puzzle piece snapping into place, hinting at a larger narrative that I had never fully understood. The store's cozy ambience seemed to amplify our voices, as if the old speakers themselves were encouraging us to reveal truths long suppressed. Just as the conversation was reaching a fervent peak, the store's sound system abruptly cut out, plunging us into a momentary silence that was both eerie and electrifying. The owner, a quiet man with deep-set eyes and a knowing smile, appeared from behind the counter and murmured something about a private event for select patrons. Noah and I exchanged a look, the unspoken agreement clear. We couldn't pass up the chance to experience this unexpected twist. As we stepped out of the familiar comfort of the record-lined walls into the uncertain promise of an impromptu gathering, I felt the past and present colliding in a way that was as thrilling as it was dangerous. Tonight wasn't just about rediscovering old memories. It was about confronting a future that had been reshaped by secrets and revelations. Every beat of the music and every whispered conversation in that mystical store was driving us further into a night that would redefine our relationship and challenge everything I thought I knew about loyalty, love, and the true cost of our hidden past. The cool night air gave way to the warm glow of canvas and brew, an art cafe alive with color and restless energy. Stepping inside, I was enveloped by the clamor of indie tunes and the murmur of lively conversations. Graffiti murals sprawled across exposed brick walls, and contemporary installations lit up the space with a vibrant, defiant spirit. The aroma of freshly ground coffee beans mingled with hints of toasted pastries, a welcome contrast to the raw chill of the evening outside. Noah and I found ourselves drawn to a secluded corner by a window that framed the pulsating city lights. I ordered a latte that arrived in a quirky, hand-painted mug, its frothy surface a canvas for a delicate artistic swirl. The barista, a raconteur with ink-stained fingers and eyes that sparkled with wanderlust, took a moment to share a tale of his own adventures, a story of love lost on foreign shores and the unending search for meaning. His words, woven with sincerity, set the tone for an evening of revelations. Noah leaned in, his voice low but determined. He began recounting how, amidst his recent travels, he'd stumbled upon a cache of letters that he never expected to find. "These letters, they're from Mom and Dad," he said, his tone laced with a fragile mix of nostalgia and sorrow. "They're full of secrets and dreams that I can't even begin to understand." His admission sent shivers through me, stirring up memories of whispered promises and unsolved mysteries from our childhood. Before I could probe further, a familiar yet unexpected face slid into our conversation, a woman whose presence felt like a sudden gust of wind in a closed room. It was Elise, a former classmate whose reputation for unfiltered honesty preceded her. With an almost conspiratorial air, she divulged rumors that had been circulating quietly among our old friends. "There's talk," Elise murmured, her eyes darting around as if the walls themselves could betray our secrets, "that someone in your circle has been unfaithful. And not just anyone, it's someone you trust implicitly." Her words, delivered in a hushed tone yet brimming with conviction, ignited a spark of alarm that raced through me. The revelation hung in the air like a challenge, an uninvited truth that demanded attention. As Noah and I exchanged looks, each laden with a mix of suspicion and disbelief, I realized that the tender remnants of our shared past were now intertwined with the present in ways I'd never anticipated. The cafe, with all its eclectic charm, became the stage for an intricate dance of confessions and denials. Between sips of my latte, I wrestled with a truth I'd buried deep. My secret, carefully guarded from Bradley, the man I'd vowed fidelity to. The weight of that promise, now threatened by the palpable tension of the moment, pressed down on me with an almost physical force. In that charged space, every new sentence, every whispered word from Noah and Elise, propelled us further down a path where old wounds were reopened and new betrayals began to take shape. The once comforting ambience of canvas and brew transformed into a crucible of hidden emotions, where each confession pushed us closer to an inevitable, heart-wrenching reckoning. After the revelations at the cafe, Noah suggested we break away from the suffocating confines of our tangled emotions. With a silent nod between us, we drove out toward the outskirts of town, where the decaying remnants of Luna Park stood against a backdrop of a pale, moonlit sky. The park was a labyrinth of rusting rides and silent pavilions, where vines crept over abandoned structures, and the echoes of laughter from decades past whispered through the night. Every creaking board and peeling poster was a reminder of a time when dreams and innocence still flourished. We wandered through the park with a mix of nostalgia and unease, our footsteps crunching on scattered debris and overgrown grass. The air was thick with mystery, as though the park itself held on to secrets that were just waiting to be unearthed. Near an old carousel, partially illuminated by the weak glow of a lone street lamp, we discovered a forgotten pavilion. Its faded signage and shattered windows hinted at an era when this place was a beacon of joy and wonder. Inside, the quiet was almost tangible, broken only by the soft rustling of leaves and the distant hum of the wind. In one dusty corner, Noah's fingers brushed against a battered leather-bound diary wedged beneath a collapsed bench. Its pages, yellowed with age, were filled with hurried, sprawling script that chronicled clandestine encounters and raw confessions of passion and betrayal. As I carefully flipped through the fragile pages, a profound sense of foreboding mixed with curiosity took hold. The diary's words hinted at secrets that resonated with my own buried fears, affairs, broken promises, and a yearning for redemption. The pages were like a mirror to our tangled past, exposing wounds we'd never fully confronted. Emotions surged unpredictably, as if the diary had unlocked something deep within us. In that charged moment, amidst the ghostly ambience of the abandoned park, the distance between Noah and me seemed to vanish. Our eyes locked in a silent dialogue laden with longing and remorse, each of us teetering on the edge of irreversible decisions. The oppressive weight of unspoken truths and the thrill of the unknown converged in a single, breathless instant. Without a word, our lips met in a kiss that was both tender and desperate, an act that blurred the boundaries between salvation and sin. It was as if the park, with all its spectral memories and hidden confessions, had conspired to force this reckoning upon us. The kiss carried the weight of everything unspoken, our shared history, the pain of betrayal, and the bitter taste of forbidden desire. In that suspended moment, the abandoned world around us transformed into a realm of raw, unfiltered emotion, a secret interlude that defied logic and expectation. As we slowly broke apart, reality began to seep back in, leaving us to wonder if that kiss was a fleeting lapse of passion or the beginning of something far more dangerous. The diary lay open on the ground, its contents a silent witness to our transgression, as the night held its breath and the park kept its secrets close. Returning to reality felt like stepping into a cold, gleaming mirror of my life, a reality set against the backdrop of the Regency's luxurious lobby, where opulence masked a chill of calculated detachment. The grandeur of the hotel, with its marble floors and polished surfaces, seemed at odds with the chaos that now roiled within me. I could feel my pulse racing as I walked through the cavernous space, every step echoing a sense of foreboding. I hadn't planned on facing Bradley tonight, yet fate had a cruel sense of timing. A mutual friend, whose tone was equal parts remorse and disbelief, casually mentioned at a recent party that he'd seen us, the forbidden kiss that had bound my past to an uncertain future. In a moment of vulnerability, he let slip details that should have remained hidden, and now those details had ignited a firestorm I couldn't escape. Before long, Bradley appeared, his expression a blend of hurt and icy resolve. The initial greeting was terse, no pleasantries or half-hearted apologies. Instead, Bradley's eyes, usually so warm, were now hard and distant. In a voice that trembled with contained fury, he confronted me. "How could you do this? How could you betray everything we built?" His words, though measured, sliced through the air with a precision that left no room for ambiguity. As the tension escalated, Bradley produced undeniable evidence, a series of text messages, photographs from that very party, and even a recording of our conversation caught by a mutual acquaintance. Each piece of evidence was a dagger thrust into the heart of the trust we once shared. With each new revelation, the narrative of our relationship crumbled further. "You weren't the person I thought I knew," Bradley accused, his voice rising as if trying to reclaim a sense of control in a situation spiraling into chaos. But amidst the storm of anger and betrayal, a new twist emerged, a secret Bradley had kept hidden. In the heat of our argument, he admitted that he'd been seeing someone else, a former colleague whose presence had silently eroded the foundation of our trust long before tonight. This confession, unbidden and raw, deepened my sense of isolation, as if I were caught in a web of mutual deceptions where every thread betrayed some hidden truth. The realization hit me hard. We were both complicit in a dance of secrets and lies, and neither of us could claim innocence. Our voices collided in the polished confines of the Regency's lobby, where sharp words mingled with desperate attempts at rationalization. Anger flared into bitter accusations, and tears, both mine and his, dropped like shattered fragments of a once beautiful illusion. Bradley's glare was unrelenting, a mirror of the hurt he felt, while I wrestled with my own guilt and the overwhelming weight of regret. In that charged moment, the luxurious surroundings became a cruel stage for our unraveling lives. The evidence of betrayal was not just physical, it was an accumulation of every unspoken doubt, every stolen glance, and every secret kept in the shadows. With every passing second, the bond we had so carefully nurtured disintegrated, leaving behind only the stark reality of our choices. And as I stood there, caught between love and betrayal, I knew that nothing would ever be the same. Determined to escape the suffocating aftermath of shattered trust and heart-wrenching betrayals, Noah and I hit the road, our destination the sprawling expanse of Blue Ridge Wilderness. The drive itself was a journey through shifting landscapes, each mile peeling away the remnants of our recent past. We left behind the gleaming facade of urban conflict and embraced the raw, untamed beauty of the countryside, a realm where nature's rugged cadence promised renewal and honest reflection. The winding road led us through quaint small towns where every corner held whispers of history and quiet secrets passed down through generations. In one sleepy village, an old bar with creaking wooden floors became our first stop. Over steaming cups of locally brewed coffee, a weathered bartender shared stories of local legends and family feuds that once tore communities apart, hinting that even the deepest wounds could eventually find their healing rhythm. His words resonated with me, stirring thoughts about how the past, with all its scars, might also serve as a foundation for transformation. As night fell and the stars claimed the sky, we found ourselves nestled in the heart of the national park. The isolation of the wilderness was both humbling and liberating, as the soft rustle of leaves and distant calls of nocturnal creatures wove a symphony that was both haunting and reassuring. It was during one of these quiet nights, parked beside a secluded overlook, that the conversation took a new, unexpected turn. Under the vast, starlit canopy, Noah's voice, soft yet resolute, revealed that he had been hiding another secret, an ongoing, discreet romance with an old friend whose presence had offered him solace in his moments of solitude. The revelation struck me with the force of a sudden storm. My heart pounded as I struggled to process the layers of betrayal that now intertwined our lives. Yet, even amid this fresh surge of painful honesty, the wilderness around us seemed to whisper of second chances and the possibility of rebirth. In the intimate isolation of that remote stretch of road, we spoke with an openness that had long been buried beneath layers of guilt and fear. We acknowledged our failures and the parts of ourselves that had faltered under the weight of deception. In the quiet moments between our confessions, the vast expanse of the national park appeared to hold the promise of healing, each tree and winding trail a silent testament to the enduring capacity for renewal. Driving through the night, with the headlights carving paths through the darkness and the sound of the engine mingling with our tentative hopes, I began to see our journey not merely as an escape from the past, but as a pilgrimage towards self-discovery. It was clear that, despite the betrayal and heartache, there remained within us an unyielding drive to find meaning, to reclaim a sense of purpose, and perhaps, eventually, to forgive not just each other, but ourselves. Returning to my hometown, I felt like I had stepped into a world that had transformed overnight, familiar streets now lined with a new, biting tension, where every smile concealed a secret. That night, I found myself at the Mosaic, an upscale art center pulsing with the creative elite. The venue, draped in modern installations and vibrant murals, buzzed with conversations that teetered between art and raw human emotion. Amid the clinking of glasses and murmured debates on the nature of truth, an unexpected forum on betrayal, loyalty, and hypocrisy was forming. As the discussion spiraled, familiar faces emerged from the crowd, old friends whose easy camaraderie had long been replaced by guarded glances and half-truths. The air was thick with a cocktail of unresolved anger and simmering resentment. Noah, usually the quieter of the two, tried to steer the conversation with a calculated calm. His words, precise and cool, attempted to rationalize the choices he'd made, as if dissecting our collective missteps could somehow erase the pain of our betrayals. His tone, though seemingly detached, carried a weight that hinted at inner conflict. Then came the confrontation with Bradley. He arrived like a storm cloud, his expression hard and unyielding. In the midst of a charged atmosphere, his voice cut through the chatter with sharp, deliberate clarity. "You thought you could hide behind your lies, but the truth has a way of coming out," he said, his tone laced with both hurt and an undeniable bitterness. His words were not solely aimed at me. They were a salvo against the tangled web of deceit that had ensnared us all. As he spoke, a hush fell over the gathering, and the raw reality of our crumbling relationships became impossible to ignore.